You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So we are out and about, and we're going to be talking to Jim, who's one of 3 sound artists that we're working with here at BRFM on the Monday Night Community Show for Arts Transmission. I've been coming down with Jim to the railway most Wednesdays since Christmas. We've done a few Saturday work weekends as well. So I thought before we join Jim live in the studio again, I'll do a little catch up as we're down the railway. We're sitting in one of the carriages, so I thought it was the ideal time in between us doing what we normally do down here to catch up with Jim. So Jim, how are things going? It's good for our listeners to hear from you again.
Hello everyone. Things are going very well, I would say, Daniel. I had this wonderful process of coming down to this quite breathtaking site, which is festooned with an unimaginable amount of antique rail engines dating back from 1904 all the way along. All these old carriages that used to carry industrial products, carriages that carried people. Indeed, at this very moment, we're sitting in a carriage, which I believe is named George Stickler. And George was someone I'd love to have met. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. And George was one of the founder members who set up and guided this amazing place into being. So, indeed, yeah, things are going really well. What I've been doing is coming down and gathering material towards final programs, playing with ideas, and that's given me the chance to meet and speak with a lot of the members on a one-to-one basis, find out what they're doing, what they're how they got into the SKLR, into the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway. And that's revealed so many different paths for people coming from totally different careers, coming down here, meeting volunteers already working here, and learning completely new skills. Learning how to drive trains, how to repair carriages, how to build fantastic gardens, and all sorts of things, Daniel.
So is there anything you've discovered that you didn't think you would by speaking to the people?
I think that's a very long list. I could probably talk for hours about the things I've discovered. It's been a complete surprise coming down here from my expectations. What's really leapt out, and I've been delighted to find, is the strong, overwhelming sense of community here. There's a very good feeling at the SKLR. Everyone has great humour and enjoys what they're doing so much, and they seem to work together in a way that I can't quite figure out in the organisational sense. You come down here, and on a Wednesday or on the working weekends, and there's activity going on all around you, and yet when I investigate and try and find out, is there a plan of attack? How are we going about these things? Is somebody organising this? Everyone shakes their heads. But somehow, like a nest of eager, enthusiastic, brilliant worker ants, they seem to get to their various tasks, and lo and behold, things happen. I mean, something that struck me, and I think you as well, Daniel, was we were down for Christmas for the Santa runs, and this is when steam was running down here. And what do steam trains like to eat for breakfast, lunch and tea is lots of water.
Yeah.
So if you'll remember, I'm sure you'll never forget like me, on our first journey, the train pulled into Kemsley Down station. All this steam and noise and beautiful look of this train, this fantastic object, this iconic object. And Joel the fireman, who'd been chatting to us, jumped off, and with the help of somebody else, marshalled this old water hose into position. Now this thing was emerging from what seemed to be a pool in the ground that was just surrounded by water, and they pulled some levers and grabbed some switches, and great jet of water started pouring out, but rather like an Ealing comedy film, the fire hose seemed to have about 75 puncture wounds all the way along it. So it's like a giant leaky anaconda, giant leaky snake who's sort of drinking a bottle of water in that sort of cartoon sense and has water leaking out. So this water was flying everywhere. Poor Joel got covered. I managed to jump out of the way of my microphone before I got soaked. Now, when we came down last week, suddenly out of nowhere, there's this rather amazing looking pole sticking out of the ground. It's all been freshly cemented in. And at the top of it, there's a brand new water hose to feed the engines. Now this seems like quite a major piece of construction, joining up the water and erecting this very solid looking pole, doing the foundations, settling it in with the cement, concrete, and all this happened in the space of a week. In the space of a weekend while our backs were turned. So it's just a tiny example of how rapidly this place can change and how industrious everyone associated with the railway is.
So you've been writing some blog posts, as well as me catching up. You've been writing some blog posts on the Arts Transmission blog. How has that been going, and how have you been able to get over sound in the way of writing and what you're doing?
Well, sound and writing are obviously linked together inherently. I guess sound came first, he said, before writing. But yeah, it's such an overwhelming process for me coming down here. There's been so many unexpected discoveries, such a richness, such a rich text is the SKLR, the whole heritage railway scene, and all these individuals' lives and experiences coming together. Trying to sort of characterise that, it's always a challenge, Daniel, trying to put it into words, and also trying to find a sense of authorship to that. I mean, there's a lot of information about railways, so it seems my role is not to repeat that, but to try and approach this project with something of an individual outsider eye and find a way into that. So with the blog, it's a similar thing. I'm trying to kind of find a voice and just keep up with it all. I'm probably a bit slow, but I will get there.
Well, Jim, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of an update, and we look forward to seeing you in the studio for a full update in a few weeks' time.
I look forward to it too, Daniel. Thank you very much.